Hi, welcome to Grateful Dead Songs, which is my YouTube channel where I try to share what I'm learning when I'm trying to learn new songs by the Grateful Dead or by any other group for that matter. And today I'm working on Stella Blue, and I want to show you how to play the song and show you some of the scales you might want to use when you're soloing over the chord changes in the song. The song itself has two main parts. There's a verse/chorus, and then there's the bridge. The basic structure of the song is verse, chorus twice, bridge, then a solo over a modified version of the verse, and then the final verse, chorus, and that's the end of the song. So what we'll learn is all the different parts, and then you can put them together, and you should be able to play the song. So let's get started. We'll start first with the chords you're going to be using in this song. And we'll start with the E-shaped chords. The song's in the key of E, and it resolves always back to E. So the first chord to know for this song is E, E Triad. It's a pretty standard chord. And working off that E shape, you have the E Triad. Then you also have an E major 7, which is a chord that's formed using the E Triad, and you drop the E down 1/2 step, 1 fret, down to a what you call a major 7, the major 7 of the E scale. It sounds like that. It's played. Take your E. The regular E, you're going to be having your on the 5th string, you have the 2nd fret. On the 4th string, you have the 2nd fret. And on the 3rd string, you have the 1st fret, all held down. All the other strings are open. That's the E Triad. For the E7, you take that 4th string and you drop the note down 1/2 step to the 1st fret. So you're playing that chord. So you have the E, then you have the E major 7. One other chord working off that E shape is the E minor triad. You play that by dropping the 3rd, which is on the 3rd string, 1st fret. Drop that down 1/2 step or 1 fret down so that it's open. So now you're just playing the 4th and 5th strings are the only ones that you're holding down. The 3rd string is open, just like the 1, 2, 3, and 6 are all open. So those are the 3 E-shaped chords you're going to learn for this song. E, E major 7, then E minor. And if you work off the A shape, A chord, there's 3 chords you got to know. First is the A itself, which is the 2, 3, and 4 strings held on the 2nd fret and everything else open. That's the A. There's also what we call an A suspended 4th, which is the A adding the 4th tone of the A scale. So if the A begins here, A, B, A, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're adding that note there. That's the 4th tone of the A scale. And what you do is you play your normal A, and then you take your pinky, and the note that you're playing on the 2nd string, 2nd fret, you put your pinky on the 3rd fret, so you're holding that up. 1/2 step up from the A. And the easiest way to play it is to hold the A and then add your pinky up there so that you can release to it. The A suspended 4th is a chord that creates a little bit of tension, and you want to release that tension, and to do that you just remove your pinky and you're back to the A again. So that's an A suspended 4th. The other chord we're going to be using out of the A shape is actually a B7. So you take your A and you bar it up to a B, which is 2 frets up. So that's a B. You have the A shape here, but you're moved up 2 frets, so now you're actually playing a B. And to get to the B7, B7 is a B chord, but instead of the B here, you take what you call the minor seventh and you play that instead. So if you think of B as a scale, A, B, there's B. The seventh of a B is right here. But for a B7, you drop it down one more step, what you call flat. You make that seventh flat. It's a flat seventh. So where normally you'd be playing the B chord like that, barring the second, third, and fourth strings, for a B7, you're gonna bar with your pointer finger, and just use your fingers, your ring finger and your pinky, to play the second and fourth strings of the fourth fret. So that's a B7. There's a B. That's a B7. So those are all the A-shaped chords we're going to be using in this song. A suspended, and B7. And there's one other chord we have to know, and that's based on the C shape. The open C shape, which is 5th string, 3rd fret, 4th string, 2nd fret, and 2nd string, 1st fret. And all the rest of them are open. Similar to a B7, you want to take the 7th of the C scale. C, here's a C. That's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take the 7th and you lower it. This is a C7. You want to lower it one more time to a flat 7. So you have your C, and you're going to be playing this note right here, 3rd fret of the 3rd string. So you have your C chord. You add that with your pinky, that 3rd fret, 3rd string, and that's your C7. So once you know those chords, and you've got 7 chords, you've basically got the whole song right there. So let's get into the song. Okay, the song starts with an introduction, and we'll learn that real quick. The introduction is a series of double stops. Double stops are 2 strings played at one time. Instead of the whole chord, a double stop would just be a couple strings. Something like that. In this song, you have a double stop with an added bass. So your double stops are played up here on the 3rd and 4th strings. And it's a slow walk down to reach the E to really get into the song. So the intro goes like this. And it's played like this. On the 3rd and 4th strings, you're going to start off on the 3rd string, 7th fret, 4th string, 9th fret. You're going to slide it down so that now you're on the 3rd string, 6th fret, 4th string, 7th fret. Then you're going to slide down again so that you're on the 3rd string, 3rd fret, 4th string, 5th fret. And you have that shape right there. Move that same shape down one more half a step. So you're on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, 4th string, 4th fret. And then you just go into the E chord. And you add your low octave for the bass from wherever your octave off of the 4th string. So if you're on the 4th string and that's your note, an octave down from that is going to be 2 frets down on the 6th string. So that's an octave right there. So you're going to be playing these octaves. And you're into the song. And there's a little bit more of an intro. Jerry will take this E and walk up, starting on the 5th, walk up the scale to the E. Here's the 5th. The 5th starts on the 5th string, 2nd fret. He just walks up. He gets back into the E. He's not leaving E, he's just walking up. And he'll do that a couple times. Now you're into the song. All the years combined. So, the song itself, the first verse, the progression is E, followed by an E major 7th, followed by an A suspended fourth, and an A, then followed by an A. That's the first part of the first verse. Each one of them are held out for one measure. So if you have a measure of 4, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A suspended fourth, 3, 4, A. So again, E7, A suspended fourth, A. What he's doing there is a little chromatic run. Chromatic run is a run where it's made up just of half steps, so you're hitting every fret along the way. And Jerry's running down this. So it's then down here, but he's raising this up to here. Then the second part of the first verse, after you go through this progression, you hit an E minor. It kind of changes the whole feel of the song for a minute, because you're now in a minor type of mode. So E minor, 4 beats, 1 measure, then a C7, and then your B7. And that's for 2 measures. So let's do it one more time. Do the whole thing at one time. Now during that, when he's holding that B, at B7, what Jerry will do during the second measure, he does this lick. It goes, it's which is the fifth of the B, and then he'll take the 3rd string, 3rd fret, and bend that up to where it's actually the B. You can't do that if you're playing solo without losing this chord. So the way I do that is I just kind of fake it by playing the B chord. And you get the same two notes by hitting the 4th and 3rd strings like that, and let them ring out. So it would be like this. And then he does a little rundown. It leads back down to the E. And that's all along the 3rd string. You start with the 4th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, and then 1st fret. And then hit the E. And the easiest way, or the best way to play it, is use your pinky, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, because that puts you right there. You're usually going to play your E. Use that index finger on that 1st fret of the 3rd string to play your E chord, so you don't have to move anything. Just let it fall right into place. And you're back into the second part of the verse, which just repeats the same thing again. 4. Minor, C7, B7. Again, 2 frets. Two measures. Sorry. That's where it goes. Stella blue, and you hit the E. 1 measure, A for measure, 2, 3, 4, back down to E for measure. And another measure, 2. Then you're ready to go back in the second verse. So, when he plays over the Stella blues, he's got a little riff that he plays. A little figure. He goes Stella blue and hits that E. He goes. And here's how you play that. It starts on you're in the E, you're playing the E chord. On the 5th string, 2nd fret, up to the 4th fret, back down to the 2nd fret, then to the 6th string, 4th fret, and then the 5th string open. Now when you hit that open, that A, that's an A, the chord changes to an A. So you want to hit the chord at the same time you hit that note. So you're going 4, 2, 3. Here's the riff. Now that walk up, that happens while the chord is an A. So an A uses the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, but the walk up is mainly on the 5th string. So you can do the chord and the walk up at the same time. Simply by, there's your A, the first note's right there, and there's your chord. Next note is on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and you're already on the 2nd fret on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string, so you can just reach your finger on over and grab that 2nd fret. So you're still playing the A chord. And the next note is this one, is this 4th fret. You can hold this A and play that 4th fret on the 5th string. And the next note is the 4th string, 1st fret. That's major 7th of the E. Obviously, you have to drop. You're playing the A like that, so you got to drop that note down. But you can leave these other 2 notes the same. Go down to an E. So it's going to be better than that. The whole thing goes like this. Then we're going to go in the second verse, and the second verse is exactly the same as the first verse that we just studied. Same deal with the Stella Blue. When you get there, now you're ready to go in the bridge after the second verse. The bridge is simple. It's just three chords. You get the B, I've stayed in every blue, down to an E, cheap hotel. Then you have an A, E, B. E again, E. B. Now you've got to get from the B back down to an E. The way they do this is Jerry walks up. There's a little walk-up figure on the B. You're holding the B, and this is again you're using the 5th string, and you're doing so with holding that B. 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, side to the 6. Now when your finger's up here in the 6, you can use your index finger to hold that B chord. Then next, it does one more time. 6, 7, 7, 6, 7, and it hits the 4th string, 4th fret, which is part of the B chord. So you just grab the whole B chord right there, back into the B chord, and it goes back down to A. So it's. And that goes into the solo. Okay, now the chord progression for the solo is exactly the same as the chord progression for the verse. It's slightly modified in that the second time through, instead of playing each chord for a full measure, you just play it for half a measure. So, for the behind the solo, the chords are your verse chords: E major 7, A7 A suspended, and A, E minor, C7, B7. Here's where he changes the speed. 2, 3, 4, A suspended, A, E, 2, C7, 2, B7, 2. So it's that same little figure that he does at the end of the bridge. B, then the then back into the last verse. E major 7, etc. And that's pretty much the whole song. The last verse chorus is the chorus, Stella Blue, Stella Blue. You can do that as many times as you want. Until you finish. And just end on that E chord. So, that's the song. Now I'm going to show you a couple scales, actually 2 or 3 scales that you can use for soloing over the chord changes, because this song is really conducive to using multiple scales when you're soloing. Okay, as you can see now, I have a visual aid thanks to my granddaughter's dry erase board, and I've set up a few charts showing some of the couple scales. Now to solo over Stella Blue, you can obviously use the E major scale because the song is in the key of E major. But you want to go beyond that. But certainly you can use the key of the E major scale, and that's what I have diagrammed here are major scales, not necessarily E major. It can be any scale. It's just the shape you would use if your root note is on the 6th string, or if your root note is on the 5th string. Doesn't matter where. If you use this shape, you'll play a major scale in that key. Now, this chart, if you read tablature, you probably can understand this, but just for if you don't, the vertical lines are the strings of the guitar, starting with this low E, the A, D, G, B, and the high E. And the horizontal lines represent frets. And the dots are on the frets, but that'd be your finger would actually be behind the fret indicated. So anyway, these shapes, for instance, this shape here, this chart, if your root note of a scale is on the 6th string, that's a shape you can use to play a major scale. For instance, if my root note is E. And it's on the 6th string. I can follow that chart to see, to show you how to play the E scale. If it's A, same shape. Now if I know my E, my root is on the 5th string, and E, that's the E, I play that shape. That's E. If it was A, it would be up here. So, those are just handy to know without having to, it doesn't require you to think too much. Once you learn how to play that shape, this chart, doesn't matter what note you have to say. F, it's a C, D, E, whatever it is. A on the 6th, E on the 5th, doesn't matter. You know how to play the major scale once you memorize those charts. When you hit the A suspended chord, A suspended 4th, you're still in E. But the melody Jerry wrote, or Robert Hunter, whoever wrote the melody, added this note in there, which doesn't fit into the key of E. If you think of the melody, it goes something like this. All these combined, they melt into a dream. That note there, they melt in. That note is not part of the E scale. That's the note you're hitting. That's a flat. It's a flat note. What that is part of the A Mixolydian Scale. Now the Mixolydian Scale is a very useful scale, one of the most useful scales you can use because it fits right under a 7th chord, and 7th chords are very, very important, especially in blues and jazz and a lot of pop music. The Mixolydian Scale, without going too deeply into theory, is basically the same as a major scale except for the 7th, which is this one here and that one there. The 7th tone is lowered down a half step. So it's just like I was explaining when you're changing a B to a B7, you take the 7th and lower it half a step. You do the same thing when you're playing the scale. Instead of the 7th being here, you play the 7th here. Instead of the 7th being here, you play it down here. Actually, in this it'd be easier to play it right here. So, for instance, a Mixolydian scale, starting, let's say, on an A, which you can play over this A suspended 4th A, and so where that note comes from, of the melody, comes out of the A Mixolydian scale. Mixolydian scale, exactly the same, then that flat 7th. So, same shape, except 2 notes are lowered half a step. Same here. If it's up on the 5th fret, your A, flat 7, flat 7. So it's that note there that's being flatted, and that note there that's being flatted. That note there moves down there. So. So that's 2 scales you can use just over the first 4 chords. E major, A Mixolydian, A Mixolydian. Now, when you get to the C7, you use the C Mixolydian. Which is that let's use that shape there with the flat 7s. And then you get the B7, you play a B Mixolydian. There's a B right there. Which has the same scale as this one with the flat. Actually, the same scale as that one. So, Mixolydian scales over the A's, over the C7, over the B7. All you have to do is remember what the root note is, and you can use any of the notes in the chart with the flat sevens. The other scale to use over the E minor is the E minor pentatonic. And a pentatonic scale, I have a separate lesson for pentatonic scale. But the pentatonic scale is quite easy, quite versatile, and used more than any other scale in blues and a lot of rock and roll. But it is just a penta means 5 in Greek, and because our music is based on ancient Greek music, we use a lot of Greek words. So pentatonic means 5 tones. In an E minor pentatonic, or any minor pentatonic, the 5 tones are the root, the minor third, the fourth, the fifth, the minor seventh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can play a little bit over 2 measures on one run in one position. For instance, in this position, this is the first position. I call this the first position for a minor pentatonic because your root is there at the bottom. You get a little bit more than 2 octaves there. There are 5 different ways to play a pentatonic scale. I'm not going to go over them now. I have a separate lesson on pentatonic scale. But just know that you can play an E minor pentatonic, which in this case, if you're starting up here, play that over the minor chord. And that's how you follow the chords. E minor, C, okay, the last thing I want to show you is this figure right here, which is a Mixolydian Arpeggio. I think it's just a neat thing to have at your disposal. Any arpeggio is good to have at your disposal when you're jamming. And the Mixolydian fits in well here because you've got these sevenths, the C7th, the B7th, and of course you play the 7th over the A as we've seen. So anytime you're in the Mixolydian mode, you can use a Mixolydian arpeggio. Now an arpeggio is basically, if you think of a chord as being the 1, 3, 5 or the 1, 3, 5, and 7 of a scale, for instance, an E chord is a 1, 3, 5, E major 7th is a 1, 3, 5, and 7. The arpeggio is just the chord broken up. So the tones you have are the 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. This repeats. And just like these other shapes, it doesn't matter what key you're in or what your root note is. If your root note's on the 6th string, you can build your arpeggio using this shape. That's the C. If you want to play the B, same shape, just move it down. So you want to play those if you're following the song, following the chords. For instance, if you hit the E minor, you'd be in the E minor pentatonic. Hit the C7 and B7. They just follow the chords. They're just neat to have at your disposal, and you can just fit them in wherever you can. You can use parts of them, just whatever you want to use in order to build your solo. Okay, well, we've walked through the song. I've shown you some scales to use. Major scale, pentatonic scale, Mixolydian scale, and this little Mixolydian arpeggio. I hope you just have a lot of fun playing the song. This is a great song to experiment using different scales picking notes out of different scales to create solos. And spend some time with it. You can really have a lot of fun with it. I hope you got something out of this, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching.